Today, we're going to talk about Structure 101. What is structure in a piece of writing, and why do you need to have it? And what are the parts and pieces you need to be thinking about in order to make sure that your writing has the structure you need? Now, this is an enormous topic. We could spend a really, really long time talking about this, but today, I just want to talk to you about the basics, the very, very most fundamental checkpoints that you need to make sure everything you write has. So think about structure this way. I like to think about it like building a house, right? Before you can go and move in your furniture and paint the walls, somebody needs to build the structure of your house. They need to decide if it's going to be 1 level or 2 levels. They need to decide if it's going to have a basement. They need to frame those walls, right? Put up those exterior walls, put a roof on the top, frame out the rooms inside where things are going to go later. That's what structure is in our writing. Structure are those spaces where stuff, your words, your ideas, are going to go later. There are those rooms that you framed out in your little writing house where later you can go and put your things inside, okay? Every piece of nonfiction writing has 4 important structural pieces that you need to make sure that you have. Every piece of nonfiction writing has some kind of introduction. And that's where you're giving some context, some background, you're setting the scene, you're just getting the reader ready for what you want to share with them. Every piece of nonfiction writing has a body. That's the stuff. That's where your ideas go. That's where your points go, your arguments, your evidence, all of that stuff that you need to share. Every piece of nonfiction writing has transitions between those body paragraphs, between the parts and pieces. And transitions aren't just filler. And you can look for some other transition videos on Mini Moves with Writers to teach you some really cool ones. Transitions actually tell our reader how to understand the information that we're giving them. Do these parts and pieces contrast each other? Are they showing different points of view? Are they a little bit different? Or are these parts and pieces adding to make a deeper and deeper and stronger argument? Got to have those transitions, not just to make it smooth, but to tell your reader how to understand this information. And then every piece of nonfiction writing has a conclusion, something at the end that wraps it up so that the reader isn't just hanging off the edge of a cliff at the end. Now, here's the thing. Regardless of what you've been told in the past, there's not a specific number of paragraphs that a piece of writing has to have. The writer gets to make that choice. The writer is the one who gets to decide, how many paragraphs do I need to communicate this idea? But here's something I will tell you. Every piece of writing that has structure has multiple paragraphs. It's not just one giant monoparagraph, right? Multiple paragraphs to help our reader chunk information, process information, and understand how those pieces of information go together. So let me show you some of these 4 pieces in 2 bits of real world writing so that you can see what it looks like. So this first piece of writing that I want to show you some structure in is by former basketball star Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He has a really cool Substack that you should subscribe to. He does quite a bit of writing. And this article is Why We Love Kobe Bryant. He took the shot. So at the beginning, there's an introduction. Now, this is pretty interesting because his introduction, the background information that he wants to show us, is multiple paragraphs long. So an introduction can be 1 paragraph, but it can also be more than 1 paragraph. And in this introduction, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is talking about sort of the nature of celebrity athletes, how athletes are typically remembered when they're gone, athletes who are remembered with sort of an even deeper affection than usual. And as you can see, everything here on the screen is introduction. It's just getting us ready for what he really wants to tell us. Here he gets to the end of his introduction that the reason that he loves Kobe Bryant so much is because he missed 14,481 times. Okay. So we have our introduction. Next, we have the body, where he is talking about why this makes him exceptional. And you can even see some transitional words in here. Let me explain. That tells us he's getting ready to go deeper into an idea he's already presented. However, shows us that he's going to give us some contrast. This is where he's giving us all of his ideas about why Kobe taking the shot and missing so many times makes him exceptional. And then at the end, we get a little bit of a conclusion. Here it's 2 paragraphs, a medium-sized paragraph and then a really short paragraph. He recaps, here's why taking the shot is important. To take the shot is to embrace failure and success at the same time. To miss so much and yet feel confident enough to shoot again and again embodies the best qualities of human beings. And then he says, to conclude, we love Kobe because he was this guy, because this is the kind of guy he was and the kind of player he was. So we can see our 4 parts: introduction, body where we tell the stuff, transitions to help us put it together and make sense of it in our minds, and then a conclusion. Let me show you in one more article, because I want to show you that regardless of what we are writing about or talking about, these 4 pieces are always there. So this is an article in The Atlantic. There is no national teacher shortage. And once again, we begin with some introduction, okay? America's students are going back to school this month. Again, introductions give us background, they give us context, they give us something to put our mind as a reader in the right space. You can definitely go to Mini Moves for Writers and check out lots of videos on different types of introduction strategies. And here, the introduction is about 2 paragraphs. First, the background of the national teacher shortage, and then some background about how this writer became interested in it and why he began to think something different than the story he was being told. Then we get body. Lots and lots of body, because this is a much longer article than the one that we read by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And notice we see some transitions. So, right, that's kind of setting up a cause and effect situation between those ideas. Body, he has interviews, he has statistics, he has personal stories, he transitions with time sometimes, more than a year ago. Here is when something happened. He has quotes from experts and quotes from teachers. Transition, in fact, which is kind of a doubling down transition that tells us I'm going to take what I've already said and make it deeper and go farther with it. And then we get to, ta-da, a conclusion. And in this conclusion, the writer says, okay, given everything that I have talked about, given everything I found out, given all the research I've done, given everybody I've talked to, here is the answer. Here is what I think is really going on. Here's an explanation for what's really happening with the teacher crisis and what's not really happening with the teacher crisis. So again, we have all those parts and pieces, right? And you'll notice with the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar article, it was much shorter and there were fewer paragraphs because that's how much space he needed to get in his introduction, his body with transitions and a conclusion. Whereas the teacher shortage article was much longer because that writer had more to say. That doesn't make it better. It doesn't make it worse. They both had those essentials, those fundamentals of structure that they need so that their ideas, however different those ideas may be, could be easily understood. Thanks so much for watching. Please make sure that you hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss any more Mini Moves for Writers.